Hey guys, one of the companies I first got to know, I believe this was when we were exhibiting at the West Palm Beach at the Powwow event in the US was MultiplyMii. And MultiplyMii is actually a part of a bigger, company and a collection of companies with Escala, with was it South Call, right?
South Korea, yeah.
And who else do we have in there? A third one was in there, a fourth
And
one
we
was
have
in there.
like Successful Scales, which
And
is it's not a
Successful
company,
Scale.
but it's yeah.
So I'm very, very happy actually right now to have Tom Marcus on here because we wanted to share a little bit about what Multiply Me does. Tom, stage is yours. Feel free, give a little pitch. Who are you? Give us a bit of background about yourself and just the basics of what is Multiply Me?
Definitely. Thanks very much for having me. So my name is Tom Marcus. I'm the Chief Growth Officer at the Scala Ventures group of companies, which holds MultiplyMii, Scala, Successful Scales, and South Call, which is a joint venture. I would give just a brief intro about the Scala venture. So Scala in Greek for scale. So Scala Ventures, it's our, let's say, it's the unification of all of these brands that I was just mentioning, and all of our focus is eventually how to help businesses to scale, and just helping them along their process of growing and just making better revenues and just enjoying life eventually. MultiplyMii in specific is one of our solutions towards helping different businesses scale, and that's the staffing solution. Basically, we are helping different businesses, and I would say not hiring VAs, the virtual assistant, the traditional ones. We're trying to go as far as possible from that term, not because it's any of an offensive or something like that. It's just that VA is like a very specific thing that came very familiar with everybody. We're doing much more than that. We help businesses building high-performing teams. We're not doing a sales call. We're doing a consultancy call to talk with you guys, which business it is, review your needs, and help you literally build the right org structure for your business, placing the right people in the right seats. So eventually your business will be able to support everything that you need and scale it as much as possible. We're recruiting and hiring only talent, really the top talent from the Philippines only. And all of our teams obviously work remote for all the digital space surroundings, and very, very focused in the e-commerce space and Amazon space. From the traditional VA through any professional specialist, graphic designers, marketing people, account managers, executive assistants, through C-level people, we can find anything in for almost any type of a market or industry.
Before we dive a little bit deeper on how you are different from hiring the traditional VA, do me a favor, now that we mention it, quickly go through Escala, South Call. What do the other companies still do? Make it a very quick one, short one, so everybody knows what is actually part of Escala.
Sure, happy to do that. So MultiplyMii is this, again, everything is about how to scale businesses, and MultiplyMii helps staffing. Escala is our management consultancy firm, basically I would say like a traditional consultancy firm, but basically on a more up-to-date version with specific methodologies that we adapted and created internally. We have a group of about 30 plus consultants which take your business on a project between 4 to 6 months, each and every project, and really helping you scale your business through a journey, while putting the emphasis on systemizing your operations. So putting the emphasis on process, the people, and the systems, like the technology, and really helping you build something like the processes to scale your business. That's about Scala. South Call, which is pretty new, about half a year now. It's a joint venture together with Sales Funding and Global Wired Advisors, and with our own Scala. And basically, it's kind of like an e-commerce exit accelerator, basically getting specific high performing high performing brands who would like to eventually down the road exit, taking them into a journey of about like 18-24 months period, helping them with funding, literally injecting capital for them to help them grow, going through an Scala project, and up to the point where their valuation is much higher than it was at the starting point, and helping them with all documentation and finding the best acquirer, and literally walking with them hand in hand towards that acquiring momentum.
So and helping, on the other hand, also getting more profit out of it by working together with Signify. Yay!
Ooh, definitely. We'll do that as well. That's for sure. One thing I forgot about Scala, and this is very important. I was mentioning the project, but quite recently we also started to be we actually launched a new course, which is a DIY course for Scala. So you can look for it at course.wearescala.com. Basically, you can apply those projects, 4 to 6 month projects, by yourself at a fraction of the cost. I would say about 10 times cheaper. So for whoever there's anyone who want to do that, maybe is not ready for spending high amount of money, this is right, especially for you guys. Last but not least, we have the Successful Scales brand, which currently it's Yoni is our CEO, Yoni's podcast, literally speaking about how to successfully scale your business. I think we're hitting 100 episodes pretty soon. What we're going to do is pretty much like we're going to build a whole educational hub around that brand and expand it for mastermind events, and going to release some articles, everything about how to help the space gain education for free. That's
Talking about that, I'm very excited about. I don't know if you want to mention it right now, but there's one thing that's coming out where you said this is a guide, some help, educating the people with tons of partners in there. I found this a very nice project that you guys put out there off the ground.
Definitely, we did, and with a big help from you guys and all other partners. So you're talking about that Q4 guide to success. Which
I don't know if you wanted to talk about it here right now, if it's public or not yet.
It is public already. I'm very happy, and I'm like, guys, put your hands on this one, because it's free. You know, you just need to fill a couple of details, but it's definitely for free. It gathers 17 different partners, including Signify for sure. I think you're actually the first chapter. I think is Signify.
Yeah, it's sourcing in the very beginning. Come on, no, but I mean, it's lovely how you put this thing there together with so many partners, so many nice solutions in there. I think it's definitely worth reading. Remind me, we'll share about this, or I myself will also share them later, the download link as well. Awesome. Fantastic. Great. But now let's hop into directly MultiplyMii. I mean, yes, everybody knows the topic, of course, of hiring VAs, of having a VA versus having a full-time employee inside the company, maybe in the same office versus remote. Help me out there. What did you discover there? What is the thought behind MultiplyMii, and how do you want to be different from hiring, let's say, just VAs?
Cool. So I would say that all of that, the Scala Ventures, especially MultiplyMii eventually, we are running on that model that we sell. We have more than 100 people in our teams. So besides myself and another 3 people, like the founders who are based here in Tel Aviv, all of our teams are Filipinos, and we just love them. It just operates amazingly. So finance team, marketing team, operations team, HR, everything. What's the difference between just a VA and hiring a specialist or whatever? I think when you say it, just a VA or hiring a specialist, a professional, it's pretty clear. But all you need to do to understand, and I think everybody after, post-COVID understand and knows that the world is not the same, and we have Zoom, we have everything, so it's super easy. As long as you find the right person and you build that framework of how do we work as a team, and you just keep following it, that's great, and it will work. And that's what we're trying to do from the point where we source the talent, we interview them for our clients, and then with our clients, we really help to find those specific people based on the job description that we built together with the client. Then we take them on a 3-month period of onboarding together, obviously with the client. They're working already at the client, but with our hand and guidance through a very, very clear onboarding process, talking about setting KPIs, those frameworks of work, the communication gaps, talking about culture differences. So literally also like educating both sides on how to communicate better. And once you finish this type of a process, besides the fact that you're speaking with someone on that screen, you almost feel that he sits just near you, and the performance is different than just hiring someone from whatever, Upwork. Do that work like whatever and deliver it. It's not like that. It's a whole, like a real person joins your team. It's not virtual. That's what I'm saying.
If I have a demand, let's say, for example, maybe in the beginning to do some whether it's Excel work, whether it's research work, or it's maybe already about writing listings, of course, in an English language, and or doing very specific tasks. How would this work best with you? I mean, we would need to give you a job description, and you see who you have in your team on your payroll inside your company already for those specific tasks. Is that correct?
Well, it depends. It varies. First of all, we have a big talent pool of like active talent pool. I would say more than 10,000 candidates at any time. So it's pretty easy for us to source and find relatively quickly the best fit candidate. But we always start with some kind of a discovery call, or more of I would call it a consultancy call, to get the client perspective of what is your current state, what do you need, what do you think you need, and we kind of like consult you on what maybe makes more sense. And then we have a long list of job descriptions ready, but we're trying to adapt them to exactly what you need. Then it's easier for us to find a better talent, and not just like if we're taking something generic, it's easier to find more talents, but they might be too generic for you, and it wouldn't be the great fit. So from time to time, we have very quick response in terms of like, yeah, we have it just here, let's review it. And from time to time, we really build together point by point with you the job description, and we go headhunt for a couple of days, and then we normally provide you with at least 3 options which you can interview, or you can say, listen, this is not that, let's go on another round. And we do that process with you up to the moment that you're satisfied and happy. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
The person then? Are you hiring them? We're paying you the rate or a monthly salary? How does it work?
So that's a good question, and we're serving a couple of service models. So it's kind of like, however, whatever fits you. If you want to pay maybe a lower amount, so you want to kind of like get them directly, or if you want our support, or maybe if you need a payroll help. So there's a bunch, about 3 different models. So let's break it into 2. Basically, we have a direct hire, which we definitely help you with the sourcing and the interviews and the recruitment and everything. Once this is done and you're happy, you pay us the fee, and that team member is all yours. You're going to manage them end to end, and also manage the payroll. The other option is more of like associated with us, and help you get the help from us across the board. So all that I already described, plus the onboarding process, and we also take care for you about the payroll management. So if you don't know how to pay, or you don't have the option to pay in the Philippines, or doing all the exchanges for Filipino pesos, and also supporting them with all the benefits that they are eligible to get, which in Upwork and most other BPOs or whatever, they are not normally paying these benefits, which also attributes to higher retention rate and satisfaction rate. So we take care of that as well. there's a list of, I think, 4 of them, but we're talking about 13 months salary, something that's called Pagibig, and a bit more. So we're taking care of that and really making sure that your employee gets what they deserve for.
Nice. Can you see, I think one of the questions for a lot of people would be, what is the typical rate? Then what is the typical wage somebody in the Philippines would get? How much would it cost? What should they calculate with?
Good question. This is a good question, and I think a lot of that's also about education. When I was speaking about education, I think that the industry is not educated enough about how much you should pay or you could pay, and what value you would get. And that's also something that we're trying to do as part of our services, and also like for free. In terms of ratio, I would say it varies. It can start from $500 a month for the very base salary and a junior position, and then it can go, I would say, for like C-level, you could get up to 3,000 plus minus 3,500 if you really get someone who's top of the line with 15 years of experience or whatever. So on average, I would say it will be about $1,200 maybe overall, with the benefits, with everything. So it's, if you compare it to salaries in Europe, in the States, in Israel, it's a fifth, sometimes a bit less, sometimes a bit more. So and you get the same quality of talent.
And or on the other hand, what I would suggest, of course, is also, that you not necessarily only go by how much, this person comes from that country, that's why it only should earn so much money. I see this for us, of course, as well. Our target is that we, pay the people by what they are worth, not necessarily where they come from. It's just like you mentioned, a very, very important point is the retention. I mean, you want to keep your employees happy. You want to make sure that they stay with you. And yes, you do want to treat them in a great way. I mean, they should become part of your company if you target for them to stay in long. I mean, why not make those people happy, make them real team members? And to be honest, if you're happy one day with their work as well, why not also pay them a German or a US or whatever, a Western rate? I think you could make somebody's life, and I'm getting some goosebumps right now. This could be one of the greatest achievements, actually. I personally believe by now as a founder, if you have a business that runs well, where you say you build up a team where you have happy employees that are also very happy with their salary. I mean, fantastic.
Definitely. I really, really agreeing, like 1,000,000% agreeing with you. And you know what? It's not even like we're talking about MultiplyMii, yeah, Filipino talent and everything, but kind of like everything we do, we sell the service and we work with Filipinos, but it's I would strongly recommend everybody to apply all these methodologies, all these concepts, and just being a human being and a great manager to anyone you're hiring, whether it's from the Philippines, from India, from your hometown, or whatever. Eventually, as you said, and definitely agree with you, retention rate of your employees, and satisfaction, that impacts your business. It's a direct impact. If your team is happy and your team members are like, you would see it in the performance. That's it.
Absolutely, I agree. One of the things, I mean, especially, of course, in the beginning, you may not be able to pay, of course, the full salaries as in your own country. I mean, this is, of course, one of the reasons why also such business models or hirings exist. But what I see very many times is also startups or founders struggling with like the first thing. Let's say there would be Amazon sellers or e-commerce sellers. From your experience, many have the question mark, oh, what do I hire a person for? What should be the task? What should be the role? And oh my God, this is probably not fulfilling like a full-time job. From your experience, where's a good way to start? What could be the first role that you typically see being hired for?
So that's, first of all, you're asking great questions, really.
I'm a seller myself. I can't help myself.
These are the questions that we normally, we get on our initial calls and initial meetings with potential clients, and that's the question. either they come very, very focused on, yeah, I need a PPC manager. And sometimes they really need a PPC manager. And sometimes it's like, listen, man, you need to invest in account management or whatever. And we're doing the transition, or we're building some kind of a, a longer term plan. So hire now someone and later on that one. So it varies. I can't say there's a specific role which, you started hiring, hire that role. It all depends on your, let's say, a business structure. How evolved are you or not? If you're just like you and your wife, and you just need someone to help you just let go of some of the stress and some of this stuff. So that might be a great for executive assistant who would take the inbox to set your inbox to 0 and help you with different stuff. If you're more established and you're doing marketing, for example, so great. Do you have a marketing person as a manager or whatever? So maybe don't start with a PPC. And I joined the company actually a year ago, and I really built a whole department. And my initial recruitment, and I would try to recommend that for anyone who has the option to do that, I was recruiting first those team leaders, the more of a managerial a layer, before I was hiring the very, very end specialist.
Nice.
Because that's the way I look at things, but it all depends on your budget and on the timing and everything. So I would say you need to kind of like assess everything, and we're helping with that. And that's the most important thing. Don't hire fast, hire smart.
Yeah. Just today I read in one of the books again, what is the Scale Up book, I think it is. Learn when you see some good own traction is when you actually say 19 times no before that one time when you say yes. You don't need to, there will be this one day in the beginning, you need to hire pretty much like everyone and anyone just to get started. And one day when you see your business has traction is when you actually say many, many times more no to a person or an applicant, rather than saying yes to each and every one. So in the beginning, you would need to get started, but you can be more and more selective.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And up to a certain point of no's, but obviously, yeah, you need to be selective. And I think, especially when you're a CEO or a founder, what's the culture needs to be, and exactly who you're looking for. And you do not need to compromise, because doing a wrong hire, even if it's fast and you just need it now, but when you're doing a wrong hire, you will pay for it.
It will
Pretty
hurt you.
soon. Yeah, it will impact the business, and I think everybody understands it.
Who are the typical customers? Who are the typical starters or founders or CEOs who come to you? Whom would this be most interesting to? Is it the fresh starters? Is it the ones who already have 2-3 people? What do you prefer? And you said mostly Amazon and e-commerce, I believe, is the majority of the customers coming to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, so lately we're very focused on the Amazon and overall e-commerce D2C brands. It varies, but I would say it's kind of like the small mid-size so far. So kind of like I would say about 5-8 people in the team so far. So kind of a relatively established business, which now the founders and the managers kind of like, all right, we want to expand and we want to do it cost effective. How do we do that? And then they get the understanding that there's another solution, just like what we're doing. And that's where they're starting their scaling process, and can hire a lot. You can hire 3, 4, 5 talents for the cost of one, which you bring in the States. And that's the scale thing. So it changes. I would say, again, not that I don't think you can find, like, absolutely you can find super strong founders also in the Philippines, or really like partners for that. But I would say have your core team first, understand that you need more help, and now it's the time to delegate and find those specialists. Then it's the right time to start hiring.
I think this was the finishing question that I wanted to have from you is, what do you suggest for a company to say is like, what should you have really in-house, and which are the greatest mass amount, let's say, of jobs that you can really outsource? What do you suggest?
So again, I'm trying to break all those, biased stuff, and like you can literally, I would say, hire any type of role, literally. But the easiest ones are the more traditional ones would be the account management stuff, the CPAs, customer service, technical support. These are the easiest ones. Executive assistants, that's like, really quick. And then it goes towards wherever you want to take it, specialists, marketing areas, finance, and etc. But those specific ones are, the most traditional. These are the easiest, and I would say at scale. So you can literally build a whole team of customer support agents.
Love it. That's cool. Tom, thank you very much for being on here. I think this was a very good intro to MultiplyMii. We'll share the link. I guess you, of course, can Google or you find Tom. I guess you were on LinkedIn as well. I remember. Yeah, we were
I'm
there as well.
doing my best there.
And or we'll share a link, of course, as well in our description, so wherever we have it. Tom,
Awesome.
Any last words? Any thoughts?
Guys, just listen, build high-performing teams. That's it. Even not from MultiplyMii, just find the best talent for yourself that will do the work and will be a part of your team and a part of your family, and treat them just as you were treating your brother, sister, and daughter or son. That would be amazing.
That's a nice word. Thank you very much, Tom. I guess we'll see more of you in the future. Thanks a lot for being on here. And
appreciate it.
I appreciate it as well. Later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man. Thanks very much.